fully responsible for all wins and failures. And that's what I need. That's where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. And something about the freedom of working for you, working on your own, working for you, allows you not to feel boxed in.
Yeah.
And that allows you to feel self-confident and have a drive without being too caught up in self-doubt.
I think maybe that is. I would have never said it that way, but when I find even now when I find myself working in a team where I'm not leading that team, like when I'm working with clients or in some specific circumstances, I find myself getting really frustrated when people are doing things not the way I would do them.
Right. Have you ever had a setback which triggered a deep fear in you that your business would fail? And if yes, can you describe what you were afraid of and how you were able to manage this fear of failure?
Yes, multiple times.
Not just
Not just once. So when you say this, the first thing that comes to mind is again my health and my healing journey, because that's been such a huge part of my story. After I had gotten super ill, it took me several years, but I did heal myself and had my full life back. I was, working more than full time again and going to the gym and had a social life, and I had everything back, as well as my entrepreneurial endeavors. And then my health crashed again, and I went back to being barely able to work, barely able to function, barely able to care for myself. And I was terrified of what that meant. But with that first relapse, I should have felt more grief and frustration and unfairness about the situation than I did. But honestly, and I think it was because I committed to this so much during the first time I worked through this. During my first relapse, all I felt was, I've been here before. I know how to get out of this, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know what to do, and I just need to start working on this now. And I healed much, much faster that second time.
So you didn't let yourself fall completely. You kind of
Not
were
completely.
compassionate.
I was passionate about what I was doing, and I was passionate about what I wanted my life to be. And I also had, maybe I didn't have self-worth at that time, but I had the self-confidence that I could get out of it again because I had already done that. Like taking action on things. And even if you fail, it still builds your self-confidence, because you show yourself what you are capable of. And it does create a list of accomplishments as long as you acknowledge them along the way.
Right, because you were able to show compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe at other more difficult forks in the road, earlier, it was hard to.
It absolutely was harder to show myself compassion. And that was one of the many, many lessons I got out of my first healing journey, my first entrepreneurial journey, was that self-compassion is not making excuses. It's not weakness. It is actually being a good partner to yourself, because it helps you be more resilient.
And it's the glue that holds you together when you go through all of the obvious ups and downs, difficulties that entrepreneurs go through.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Would you consider yourself someone who hasn't always fit in? And if so, did it ever lead to self-doubt in your decision making and risk taking? And how might you have overcome these? How did you overcome these?
Yes, I've always felt like someone who doesn't fit in. I've always been the very smart, very nerdy, very shy person as a child, even all the way through high school, which did make it hard to feel like I fit in places. And I've always chosen unconventional paths in my life, which has always worked out really well for me. And You
Can
know,
I just tell you, they're unconventional in the sense that they give you a lot of freedom, a lot of liberty.
they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did. Um, and what was the second part of the question about not fitting in?
If you've never fit in, if you haven't always fit in, sorry, did it lead to self-doubt in your decision making and risk taking?
Yes, there would be a lot of inner torment about the decisions I was making because nobody would understand them and be very supportive of them. Because, like when my decision was to study astrophysics for college, people were like, what? Like, what are you even going to do with that? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would you do that? Or when I chose to go and pursue a professional career afterwards, like nobody in my world had ever heard of that as a career or understood it. And it's not fitting in wasn't something I had to overcome. I think it was more something I had to embrace. I had to realize that
Mm-hmm.
being different and being called to do different things has
Mm-hmm.
become a strength of mine and is honestly how I create a life that I am happy with, even if no one else understands it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is it about being able to do untraditional things, astrophysics as a woman, for example? Maybe, is it that you follow your passion, um, it, it gives you drive to be able to do things that you're passionate about, independent of maybe what you think other people think you should have done?
Yeah, I think there's always been this sense of I don't fit in and I don't want to fit in. I don't and looking back on it, I would have like one or two friends who were kind of like anti normal people with me, which is kind of silly. But like when I remember being in middle school and I didn't want to wear like very girly clothes. I was still a tomboy and I didn't like the boot cut flare jeans that other girls were wearing. And like I had my friend and I who like refused to wear boot cut flare jeans. And, we were
Mhm,
just like
mhm,
these weirdo rebels or whatever, in the mind of like a
mhm.
middle schooler, that's what's important in life. But I feel like by connecting with those other people who live a life more like mine, it's helped me develop more comfort in knowing that I'm different and it's okay.
So not fitting in, you had to turn it around, and so it was something about uh, it embraced the all various different parts of you by taking an untraditional route.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely embracing different parts of me. That's even with my current business, Value Video Marketing. It's an unconventional business in the space. Like I really still haven't found any companies that offer what I do and the way I do it. And I crafted my offering by looking at what the market needed and also thinking about what I can offer, which is expedient delivery of a video content, but also very well crafted and written. And writing is a creative outlet that I've discovered in
Mhm,
the past
mhm.
couple of years. So like combining this unique set of skills I have, I can offer something at a better price than anyone else out there.
KRISTIN, we are, believe it or not, at the end of our time together, and I want to thank you so much for your openness and courage to talk about some of the psychological issues you face to achieve the success that you have. And also your inspirational journey to become an entrepreneur, female entrepreneur for our audience. So thank you so much. Where can people reach you to learn about your work?
So you can go to my website, which is valuevideo.marketing. You can type that into any browser. It'll take you right to my website, or you can just Google my name, KRISTIN JEKIELEK, on LinkedIn and connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I post. That's where I message with people. It's the best place to follow along and reach out.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Leslie. This is a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Totally agree. Thank you.
All right, take care.
This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital DIY startup platform for women. For more information on her guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. We believe in open and non-stigmatizing dialogue about the hidden psychological difficulties experienced by many successful entrepreneurs and highlighting the strategies used to overcome them, such as the fear of failure, of not being good enough, and that loud, chattering internal critic is critical to helping other founders achieve success. Please join her next week for more Mindset for Success stories. That was Dr. Leslie Knudsen, and you can drop her a line at dr.leslieKnudsen@dr.leslieKnudsen.com.